tumbling through 1,000 centuries. You don't know where you land. It's so dark in mythology. Treasures of history to be found. Hear the legends of time. All the handiworks remain. Only the dream away. Orion,
You guys ever hear of a little film called Donnie Darko? It wasn't a big hit in the box office when it first came out. Not because of the movie itself, mind you, but because of how scarcely it was advertised, given that a large part of the film involved a crashing plane, and with the event that happened the previous month, it was a victim of poor timing, to say the least. Despite this, it was met with critical acclaim, with many praising the story, acting, and tone. It found its audience in the home video market, developing a cult status. The film may not be for everyone, and the hype around it could kill the experience for some. It is a very interesting movie in how it handles its themes and subject matter. With a complex story about destiny, time travel, tangent universes, and the end of the world, Donnie Darko can be utterly confusing and could take 2 or more viewings to fully grasp everything it's trying to say. Nevertheless, Donnie Darko is a wonderfully twisted one-off film about destiny. Is what I would like to say. Surprised? Boy, I sure was. I had no clue this even existed until recently. From what I researched, and by that I mean skimming the film's Wikipedia page, writer and director of the previous film, Richard Kelly, had no intention of making another film. However, in 2008, a sequel was put into production, now with Chris Fisher in the directing seat, who was a fan of the first film at the very least. The film is actually an independent piece from Silver Nitrate Productions. Yes, not Newmarket Films, which produced the original, as Newmarket went under by the time. The most interesting part about its marketing, in retrospect, was actually the viral marketing. 3 videos were released on YouTube to promote the film, and keep in mind, this was in 2008, before this was common to do. These videos are a bit difficult to track down, but it's all worth it to see this poor sap get crushed by a dumpster as if this was a Looney Tunes cartoon. Despite this, the film has basically disappeared from public knowledge to become a story passed around the campfire with friends and family. I would not at all be shocked if this film became the subject of lost media creepypastas. The backward semantic message is telling you to buy the Blu-ray. So the ultimate question to ask ourselves is if the movie is even worth remembering. Oh, and as a side note, I hope you're not expecting me to do a massive breakdown about the symbolism and meaning of certain aspects, because that's not what I do, and for reasons I'll get into, I do not care. I will, however, bring up key points from Donnie Darko when applicable. So if you haven't seen Donnie Darko and don't want to get hopelessly lost, stop the video right now and go watch it before continuing. Not only to keep up, but for the simple fact that the movie is really good. I'll give you 5 seconds. Now with all formalities out of the way, let's dive right into S. Darko. We open with a text recap. It's been 7 years since Donnie died, and his sister, Samantha, has run away from home as she spirals further into depression. We meet Samantha Darko, played by DeVay Chase, along with her friend Corey Korn, played by Brianna Evigan, driving through the desert when their car breaks down. Before long, Samantha falls asleep, making me wonder if the sleeping disorder was hereditary. In the dream, we see a pond and a guy climbing a windmill. I'm definitely sure there is no connection with that at all. Not long has passed until we're introduced with Randy Jackson, played by Ed Westwick.
Roadkill.
Frozen to death.
The film has only barely begun and it's already presumed dead. Not a good sign. Randy tows their car and drops them at a motel where that night, odd stuff begins to occur. You know, not the most straightforward way of getting the rainbow wing, but if it means getting our ho-oh, I'm game. I'm honestly curious how she did this, considering nothing like this has ever happened before in the previous movie. And jumping the gun a bit here, this feather right here is never explained what it is. But there's no time to worry about that, as we have to meet up with Windmill Guy again, played by James Lafferty, where a future version of Sam confronts him as she does her best Frank impression.
4 days, 17 hours, 26 minutes, 31 seconds. That is when the world will end.
Anyone else getting a sense of deja vu? No? Just me? Okay then. Before a meteor crashes down on top of them and ending the movie right then and there, Sam opens a portal to save him as we jump to the next day. A cop finds Sam on the bench, and he drives her back to the crash site. Afterwards, Randy invites the two of them to his 4th of July party in 4 days.
You might as well have some fun, right?
Well, what about that water pump?
I'll look for it later.
After you're done getting wasted?
Ugh, chill out.
You know, no offense to DeVay Chase, and I have no idea if it was intentional or not, but her performance as Sam is just plain dull. She goes through the vast majority of this movie in a sort of half-awake state, which, yes, it would be indicative of a sleepwalker, but there is very little else from the performance. Sure, Donnie was like this from time to time in the first movie, but he had more going for him in terms of character. He could be a smartass, he could be scared, he could be confused, and showcase a whole range of emotions. Of course, this was partially thanks to the actor. Not to say she's a bad actress or anything, but she isn't given a lot to work with, making her essentially another Donnie, but with half the character and charm. It doesn't really help that there wasn't much to Sam's character in the original film to begin with. We basically have nothing to go off of to expand her. At the cafe, the resident nerd, Jeremy, played by Jackson Rathbone, discusses the meteorite. Jumping away from that, we find Justin confronting Randy in Frank's scrapyard. This conversation basically amounts to, "End of the world, man! Tell everyone! Smoke him if you got him!" During some by-the-pool f***ery, we get a little background on Randy, namely that his brother went missing and the ramifications it had on his family. Ignoring the obvious parallels between their family lives, we reconvene with Justin and Frank Samantha, or as I like to call her, Frankmantha, who guides Justin to burn the church down.
No, damn it, I said to burn it, not make it explode.
The existence of that burning church will work as my excuse for this being a Christmas video. Fa la 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 la. The next day, the police find Justin's dog tags in the ashes of the church. Meanwhile, Sam bumps into Jeremy, who is secretly suffering from either radiation exposure or dried mustard stains. Either option is hell. Elsewhere, we see that Justin begins crafting a skull rabbit mask, which is very instrumental to his mission as the living receiver because... Oh, I know. Because first movie. Yeah, you can probably tell at this point that while stuff is happening, nothing much is going on. The movie is just sort of meandering along without a real purpose. And despite the, Armageddon countdown, it feels like nothing is going on. Sam wandering the street in this scene without a real end goal is the best visual metaphor for this film. Anyway, Sam meets up with Randy and Corey. Sam wants to leave, with Corey chewing her out because Sam doesn't want to waste her time here anymore.
Maybe I do have better things to do.
What? Like, try to off yourself again? You can sleepwalk back to Virginia for all I care.
Well, that came out of nowhere. Kinda like this car. Sam, getting caught in the carnage, lies on the floor dead. While going through Sam's suitcase, she finds... Wait, hold on. She finds the Philosophy of Time Travel book, complete with a sketch of Frankenstein and Sam's last unicorn story? No. Just no. This right here, ladies and gentlemen, is a load of horse apples. Okay, for those who don't know, in the first movie, when the Tangent Universe was created, Donnie was given this book, which was the cipher key to figuring out how to undo the Tangent Universe, along with teaching him about the artifacts, living receivers, and the manipulated dead. By the end of the movie, he used his powers as a living receiver to send the jet engine back in time to kill himself, destroy the tangent universe, and save the world. Now, with all that in mind, I asked the all too important question, how in the seventh circle of hell does Sam have this book? Donnie only had this book in the tangent universe. You know, the one that was destroyed? In the main timeline, he wasn't alive long enough to have this book. And yet we're not only supposed to buy that he had this book, but that he also had enough time to draw a little doodle of Frank's bunny mask in it, and that Sam would have had this book that shouldn't exist. The only reason I could muster for why Sam would have this book would be that she got it on her own accord, but that wouldn't explain the Frank doodle. This book is a plot hole incarnate, plain and simple. Anyway, later that night, Corey is called out of bed by Billy Moorcroft. Wait a minute, I thought Justin was the living receiver. So how is Corey seeing Billy manipulate dead if she isn't the living receiver herself? Unless they're both living receivers. But I don't get... You know what? I'm gonna stop myself right there. My head is hurting as is. Billy appears to command Corey to save Sam. So with some vague idea of what to do, Corey, along with Randy, go to just randomly out of the blue investigate to see if there was a connection between Samantha's situation and Donnie's.
She told me she thought her brother was the lucky one. Everyone will remember him and love him forever.
This really comes out of nowhere and doesn't amount to much. I do personally find it funny how Sam calls Donnie the lucky one. You know, the one who was crushed by a jet engine by his own hands. That is concentrated cosmic spite right there. So night comes and Corey follows Billy to a cave with a portal inside, which allows her to go back in time to the point where Sam died so that instead Corey could die in the crash. Wait, why did Corey have to die again? Was she a living receiver and the car was the artifact? So does that mean there was a tangent universe inside another tangent universe? Yo dog. So after another bout of sleepwalking, I swear she sleepwalks more than she actually walks, Sam spots the dress that her future self will wear in an antique shop owned by the parents of oh look who it is. The radiation from the meteorite is making the mustard stain on his arm grow. But hey, it improves his vision, so give and take. Randy's arrival is the cue for Sam to leave, leading to easily the best part of the movie right here.
Get lost.
You fucking kidding me?
I've got nothing to add to that, it's just gold. After a scene that in no way resembles any scene from that other movie, Sam wakes up on a hill with Justin in the plot hole. I mean the cop-out. I mean the retcon. I mean... the plot hole. Surprise, surprise, Justin's grandmother was Roberta Sparrow, and that his mask was inspired by Donnie's drawing. Because of course it is. Sam soon after finds the bodies of Randy's brother and Billy in the cave. When she goes to the police about it, the town assumes that Justin is responsible and arrests him. On an unrelated note, god damn it, I'm on page 4 of this script? This is becoming one of the densest videos I've ever made, and yet so little has happened. How is it this movie is managing to say so much and yet so little at the same time? When Sam arrives back at her room, she finds the dress there as a gift from Jeremy, who is slowly but surely turning into Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor each time I see him. He asked if she'll wear it to see the fireworks with him. They drive to a remote area and witness more meteorites falling, or to use Jeremy's name, tesseracts. Okay, so according to my Google foo, tesseracts are the 4th dimensional analog for a cube, in the same way a cube is a 3-dimensional square. Why did he call a chunk of metal that? Or did the meteor give him knowledge of the 4th dimension? You know what, who cares? After a couple of failed advances, Jeremy, in his frustration, knocks Sam into Justin's mask, which kills her, allowing her to become the manipulated dead. Justin breaks out of jail, then proceeds to travel back in time to the beginning of the film to be killed by the meteor, restoring the timeline. But wait, he didn't send the artifact back in time, so how did... You know what, I don't care anymore, I'm wrapping this up. So all is well that ends well, Sam decides to take the bus back home, Corey stays behind with Randy, and no more movies in this universe were ever made ever again. So that was S. Darko, and... What a pointless movie. There are some good things about it. The acting was alright, the music was okay if a bit distracting at points, and the cinematography was decent if a bit bland. However, this was quite the dull movie with nothing going for it to make it stand out, and not much interesting to offer, with everything of note being lackluster. Even with those few half-hearted compliments I threw, take a wild guess what does everything this movie did but better. That's right, Donnie Darko. With how many cues this film took from that one, S. Darko just comes across as a Donnie Darko light, making it doubly pointless. My advice to you is to just stick with the original film and to completely forget that this movie even exists. Which is going to be much harder to do since I just exposed this film to my audience. So in doing this review, I've unwittingly brought it back into the public eye by making this video, and people who are curious will watch the movie anyway instead of letting it fade away into obscurity. Damn. Talk about a self-defeating quest. I'm gonna go lie down now for a bit. In the meantime, however, remember that this is TheOshawott17. Good night, stay safe, and just be wary of people in rabbit costumes. You'll thank me later.
Enlarging your world. My world.
Is this on? Hello YouTube, this is Bunny making my first video on my new channel. I've been thinking about starting a channel for some time now, just not sure what it should be about. Lately I've been having some strange dreams, and I figured I not only share with you these dreams, but showcase the strange things that's been going on around me lately. I hope you find some enjoyment in my daily life and find something that you want to stick around for. Anyways, I'll catch you guys later in my first vlog on this channel. Take it easy. Peace.